All right, guys, so this is part 2 to the mind-body connection series. Part 1 I posted a few weeks ago, and I discussed the history of the mind-body connection. Today I'll be getting into the mechanics of the mind. Now, the mind is separate from the brain, and that's why I really want to get into the mechanics of it and teach you guys what the mind actually is and why it's so popular amongst occultists. So right now I'm at the park. You have to pardon me if I'm doing this because it's bees or if you hear background noises. It's the environment, and so I thought today was a beautiful day to give you guys this transmission because the sun is absolutely popping today, and it's just a really feel good type of day. So without further ado, I'm gonna shut up and get into the meat and potatoes of, so what is the mind? The mind is a set of mental faculties that are responsible for all mental phenomenons. Now, scientists have broken down the mind into different parts just to better understand it. And those parts are the will of the mind. Then we have the imagination of the mind. Then we have thought of the mind. And this is where we're going to spend time with thought. And then we have the sensation of the mind. And then we have memory of the mind, right? And so, and the reason why I'm saying of the mind is because the body has similar faculties, right? But today we're sticking with the mind. And primarily we'll be talking about thought. And so I want to make just a slight distinguish between the mind and the body, the mind and the brain. Okay, and so scientists also believe that we are able to produce one of those 5 mental faculties, being will, thought, imagination, memory, the others, based on sensory information. That's how the mind works, through sensory information. But if you guys are spiritualists or meditators, whatever you want to call it, we know that that's not always true, right? Sometimes the thought is able to connect to other thoughts in the mental universe or connect to other thoughts within the body without any sensory information. It just kind of happens automatically, right? When we're in that receptive mode. So that's not something that I want to dive deeper into today because that's such a big conversation. I'm just going to try to keep it as simple as possible for the sake of this video. So let's move forward. The mind is what I believe is something that's not divisible, whereas the body is something that is very much divisible. So for example, if you have the brain, within the brain is the hippocampus, right? You can surgically go in and take out the hippocampus, but what you cannot take from the hippocampus is the memory. It's stored in there, but it's not tangible. It's not anything that you can open up and say, oh, here's the memory, let me pull that out. We've only been able to see that happen in movies like Harry Potter, where Dumbledore took the wand and was able to pull out that memory, right? And if you remember, that memory, that thought form that he pulled out was very light, and it was very clear, and it had a very spiritual essence. So understand that all mental faculties have a very spiritual, light, etheric essence, right? All right. And again, that essence is not something that can be divided. Why? It can't be divided because it's picturesque. It's more like a picture. It's not something that you can stick and put together. It's a picture. It's a snapshot of a certain time-space reality. I hope this is making sense. So moreover, just to drive that point home a little further, the body is comprised of water, mostly water, and organs, right? A lot of liquid within the body. The organs, the body, can be divided. You can also extract things from the body in this dimension, in the 3D dimension. You can also cut it. You can add things to it, and you can also enhance the body, right? Which is very different from the mind, right? The mind is a single unit, is one unit. You cannot cut the mind open and extract anything from it. You cannot put anything else into it in this dimension, in the 3rd dimension. Now we know when you get into 4D, 5D, and beyond, it's some tricky business that can happen, right? But we're talking about 3D, right? We're keeping it simple. Yes. All right, so let's keep it moving. So the reason why occultists, or people who study religion or spiritual things outside of what society does, the reason why they give the mental universe or the mind a godlike property is because the mind is one of the few things that you cannot add anything to or take away from it, giving it the creator type of essence, right? It has that creator essence because it is the all, right? So when you think about the creator, can you take anything from it? Because it didn't created all this shit, right? You can't, honey, these bugs out here. You cannot subtract from it, right? Because it is it. It's everything. It's the all, right? And so the occultists believe that we live in a mental universe and we are just extensions of the mental universe. Mental universe being fourth dimension, fifth dimension, and beyond. So the mind is also something that is expansive, right? It can expand like a universe, right? The universe isn't contracting, it's expanding. And I know it's different theories and different beliefs on that. I don't know. It's all of this noise in the background, so I'm going to pause it and then start over again. And so to understand again, the mind is, unlike the body, it's one unit and it's infinite. Just like the creator, it's infinite. And what gives it its ability to be infinite is its means to expand itself, right? I know you guys have heard the expression, like, if you think it, you can achieve it. So if you think something, you can actually make it materialize. Again, giving the mind that God property, right? That's why that crown chakra is so important. The third eye chakra is so important, because if those are clear, man, the mind is the limit. My mind ain't got no limits. Do yours? So, to make it simple, I will say that the expansion of the mind happens primarily through thought. Pardon me, I have my notes right here, so because I want to make sure that I'm speaking clearly. It happens primarily through thought. And thoughts have a bi-directional relationship with emotion, right? So if you feel a certain thing, you begin to think something. If you think a certain thing, then you begin to feel something, right? It's a bi-directional relationship with thoughts and emotions. And this is important. It's important. It's important because both the emotion and thought influence the body, right? They both influence the body in very different ways. Right. Now, here's where things get a little tricky. It's because we have our conscious mind that we have a great connection to, but what we don't, a majority of us have a connection to, is that subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind makes a huge impression on the body. And this is why meditation is so important. This is why being still is so important. This is why going into nature is so important, because it'll give you an opportunity to connect with your subconscious mind to see what's in there. And once you understand what's in there, you're like, oh, okay, well, this is why I have what's going on with my body. Let me rearrange my subconscious, or let me reprogram my subconscious so my body can move more fluidly, if that makes sense.